Once, on a planet of wisdom known as Zenla, there lived a man of nobility and courage. Now, a new being lives in his stead. Behold, the Silver Surfer.
Hello everyone, thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books, I love talking about them, I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that I have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. We're going to be looking at the Thanos Quest, number 1 of 2, Schemes and Dreams, by Jim Starlin, Ron Lim, and John Beatty. This has really cool covers, maybe early computer or possibly actually hand-painted by this Tom Vincent guy. This is a precursor to the Infinity Gauntlet. This is where Thanos gets all the gems, which will lead into the Infinity Gauntlet. This cover is a front cover and a back cover. I remember getting these on eBay way back in the day when eBay had first started. So it was pretty cool. So I have both these issues. I have Jim Starlin's entire Silver Surfer run, and we're going to go all the way through to the Infinity Gauntlet. So here we go. This is from like the inside cover. There are no ads. There were no ads in this book. So it was like a prestige format book. So again, Schemes and Dreams, Jim Starlin, Ron Lim, and John Beatty. Tom DeFalco is already editor-in-chief during this time. And so here we go. So Thanos is peering into this infinity well. There's a lot of exposition here, which we are not going to. I'm going to try to be as thorough as I can for this issue, but you can see the coloring. So it's most likely hand colored, perhaps. 1990, there's probably really not much computer coloring. And so one of Death's minion here is asking Thanos if he hasn't killed half the population like he had promised. And so Mistress Death then appears, and he feels a little bit, why are they questioning him? You know, he has done nothing but been faithful and loyal. And so this guy then translates, Mistress Death wishes to know how this newly acquired knowledge will further her desires. And so he basically says that he is going to need power. And they're like, hey, she already gave you power. And he says, oh, yes, she did, but I'm going to need more power. And so this guy says, like, what kind of power? And he says, I wish to search out 6 objects throughout which to focus my awesome might. And the other guy says, 6 objects? And he says the 6 soul gems. He doesn't have them in his hands, but he's kind of, I guess, creating like an illusion or something. So, cool panel here. And this guy's like, you had them before. You tried to destroy the galaxy. And Thanos is like, yep, I failed. And he says that at that time he did not perceive the true nature of these gems. I utilized them as a hammer when in reality they are a surgeon's scalpel. And so he says that the time that he spent in the well, he figured out what he needed to do. And so he says those who currently possess the soul gems have no notion of the true nature of their power. They also use them as crude weapons or worse, personal talisman. And this guy's like, you're always plotting and scheming. And Thanos says, always for your benefit. And so he asks if she has, if he can have permission to go get him. And she's quiet, not saying anything. And then he says, hey, can I let you know that the in-betweener has one of them. And the in-betweener is one which rebelled or you know, has a thing for death. So she looks at him like, ugh. And so they're like, all right, permission granted. And so he gets his little vehicle, and now he's going to go get them. And so he is now going to journey to where the in-betweener is. He is in a nexus of reality, and this is kind of what it's looking like. He's being held prisoner there by two beings called Chaos and Order. Again, a lot of exposition here, which I am not really going to read here. So eventually he gets through. And so the he has now arrived at the nexus here, and so inside here is the in-betweener. Feel free to go to that website that I posted down if you need to know more about who these characters are, because I'm really not going to spend too much time saying who the heck they are. But that website is on the description below. Feel free, and you can get all the character bios and see who they are and all that good stuff here. So, all right. So the guards basically are going to stop him, and Thanos is like, whatever. And so he quickly disperses them. And he says, hey, in-betweener. And he goes, hey, you're Thanos. I thought you were dead. He's like, no longer. That's going to be a running joke, I think, for a while. Weren't you dead? And so he says he's going to set him free. And the guy's like, hey, I've been trying to get free and nothing's working. You can see he's got the gem here. And so the guy's like, what do you want? You're not known for generosity. And basically, he says he wants to also rebel against death. And he's like, oh, so you need a new protector. And so Thanos says, yup. And if I free you, he'll earn your undying gratitude. Oh, sorry, I'll earn your undying gratitude. He's like, yup. And he says, emphasis on undying. And this guy's like, I don't need him. Once I get free, he thinks I'll get rid of him. But Thanos is not telling him something, and we'll see what that is. So the in-betweener says, Thanos' might is nothing compared to my own. Once he serves me, I shall deal with him accordingly. And so the two of them together go and use their power, him inside and Thanos outside. And so off they go. And they continue until finally the in-betweener goes free. And his prison explodes. And he's like, at last I'm free. In truth, I'd given up hope. And so he's like, yes, Thanos, my savior. And then he's going to go and he says, how can I trust someone, such a traitor? And then he's going to use his power, but he realizes he doesn't have any. And Thanos hits him here and says, conceited fool, like he would ever abandon death for him. And so he takes the gem from him, because that is all he wanted, and he leaves. And he says, how come? And he says, when you're out, you only had power inside that cell. He says that the Lords of Chaos and Order wanted him to have the illusion of still having power, but in reality there's no power outside of it because it's been blocked. And then he lets them know that they're upset and they're probably not going to have a prison nearly as comfortable the next time. So Thanos leaves, and of course the in-betweener's like, crap. And so here comes Chaos and Order, Lord Chaos and Master Order. He's like, this isn't my fault, it was Thanos, not me, listen. And then you can hear him scream. So he's got the first one here, and so Death appears with her translator, and they're like, hey, how come you said you wanted to get rid of her? He's like, it was Thanos. You can see him biting his lower lip, and he's like, well, I have to say what I have to say to get the gem, basically. And he's like, how many times do I have to prove my love and loyalty to you? And so they're like, whatever. She accepts your testament, and good luck. And so they disappear again, and he's like, oh, they're watching me. And he says he expected it, but that means he'll have to be even more careful. And it says here, she should stumble upon my true plan before I'm ready to reveal it. it's best to not even consider the dire ramifications of such a premature disclosure. So now he's going to go to the next, which is the champion. And so the champion is basically a fighter, and he wants to prove himself the greatest warrior in the universe. So he goes planet to planet and basically kills everybody and kills everything because nobody can beat him. And so he's sort of like an early day Doomsday, but intelligent. So he's just trying to destroy everything. And so here comes Thanos, and Thanos is gonna goad him. And so Thanos is like, "Hey, I'm gonna fight you." And so Champion goes, and you can see I am invincible. And so Thanos ducks and gets him here. We're gonna have a bit of a fight here. You see Thanos punching him, and the guy's like, "How dare you?" And oh, Thanos. And so off, he just falls on him, and he's like, "Huh, all right." Thanos uses his powers and hits him, and he's just getting him mad. It really, that's right now the goal of Thanos, is to get this guy pissed. You can see he is shooting at him, and he's not stopping. He's getting really close, and he's like, "I'm champion." And so he stops as Thanos, he gets close, and he's like, "You talk too much." And so once he stops pushing, it's like you're pulling, and then someone lets go, and you fall, or vice versa. You're being repelled as you're trying to go, and then suddenly they stop that, and you lunge forward. So as he does, Thanos hits him here, and the guy's pissed. And so Thanos puts up his shield, and now you can see, so he's hitting the shield, and this guy's like, I'll destroy it. So he keeps hitting it, and Thanos keeps saying, man, he is super strong, and this thing he's gonna clobber this shield if he keeps doing it. And so this guy continues to hit, and he's like, oh my god, it's gonna break any moment. Thanos even knows, and then he stops. So he's like, man, if this guy would have hit it like 2 more times, he would have destroyed that shield. And so he's like, you're not a true warrior. You don't, you're using weapons. You're not fighting hand to hand. And he jumps up kind of like Superman, and he flies up. And so he decides he is going to hurl himself kind of like a meteorite. And so he does. And of course, Thanos is going to disappear. And when he does, he teleports away here. And when he does, he hits the planet, which of course, it's too much for the poor planet here. And so this planet basically destroys itself because he hit it so hard. And so he's like, I won, I killed him. And so Thanos is like, ha, now you're gonna be out in outer space. And he looks around. He's like, I'll battle you for a vessel. And he's like, why would I agree to that? For honor of combat. Rubbish. I don't feel like fighting. And he says, then I'll smash your craft. And he's like, I still have my force field, which is a lie. So he's going to go. He's like, wait, you can't leave me like this. And he's like, you're immortal. You'll live, but you'll probably get bored after 100 years or 2. And he's like, please, I beg you, transform me to another planet. And he says, for a price. Then he says, what do you want? He says, the soul gem. He's like, my gem? And so he's like, forget it. Sooner or later, someone will come along, and they'll probably leave you because he's egotistical. So he takes the gem and throws it, and he's like, he never even functioned anyway. So he grabs him, and then he grabs a tractor beam. And so he finds a planet in there, and then he instead of sending him to land, he sends him in there. The planet catches in the gravity, so he's actually going to fall into it. And he's like, I wonder if Champion will survive the fall. Of course he should. He is immortal and very powerful. So now he's got the 2 of the gems, and now he seeks the 3rd, which is the gardener. And so this one is actually going to be very quickly because all they're going to do is talk. And the gardener thinks they're going to have to get into a fight. But Thanos is actually very smart, and you're going to see in a moment what he's going to do, very Kirby-like here. And so he's showing him the garden, and, they're chatting. But You see here, I have no wish to harm you, Gardner. And he's like, nor I you, but our dreams are odds. And then Thanos is like, well, all right. And so it believes it's going to start to fight, but you can see Thanos breaks that out here. And so what happened is um, Thanos defeated him. He used the power gem that he had taken to amplify the Gardener's own gem, which is time. And so what he did is he moved things forward and basically moved things in time so that you basically got the Gardener to the end of his life. And so that essentially is the first issue of it. So he's got 3 and 3 to go. And so he needs to be true to his own nature. And it says here, for after all, I am Thanos. So pretty cool here. I think Ron Lim draws Thanos the best here. So that is the end of book number 1. So book 2 will be next. So Thanos Quest number 1, Jim Starlin and Ron Lim with John Beatty. By the way, John Beatty is the inker mostly for Mike Zeck. He did Secret Wars. He was with him in the Punisher limited series. He mostly did Mike Zeck, but John Beatty is a very good inker. So like and subscribe, and I do thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.